Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. This time we've got a top 16 list from Pro Play Tour Philly. Sorry that I'm a little late on this one, guys, but William just kind of reached out to me last week and said, hey, let's get this on the channel. So I'm here to give that to you guys. We couldn't set up an interview because of time constraints, but I do have some notes from him before we get into those, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you're looking for a Dragon Ball Super community to get in touch with, check out the Discord in the description below. If you want to get caught up on some competitive content or want to help me support the channel, check out the Patreon in the description below. Or if you want to buy this deck or any cards listed in the deck, make sure you use my TCG player link in the description below. All right, with that being said, we're gonna get right into this. So a deck that's been growing in popularity over the past few, I guess, weeks, you can say, is this new green Goku, Clash of Fates Goku deck featuring all the good red-green cards. I kind of just call it red-green.deck good stuff. But we'll go into what William had to say about the deck. So he said he got the idea for the deck Tuesday at Locals after facing Pat O'Neill round 2 while I was testing Frieza Prison. Lost 2-0, and Pat explained how this deck goes off turn 5 every time, while Frieza Prison can't do it until turn 6, and Preemptive Strike and Denial of Hope both just stop the deck, and expecting a decent amount of Frieza Prison, making the change was simple. So yeah, Preemptive Strike is really good against the chain attack that's going to bring out the Bobbity. They don't really, Frieza Prison in particular, doesn't want to tap out for Bobbity because then they lose out on their 10k combos that are in their hand. Their attacks are just weaker. So they would much prefer to drop the Bobbity next to the chain attack, and Preemptive Strike does hit the chain attack. So Thursday, I went to build the deck and scrambled to get the cards for it that I needed, all while trying to remember Pat's build, which I did a horrible job remembering. I couldn't get more Preemptive Strikes, I couldn't get a 4th Kaio-Ken or a Broly SCR, which is a better option than Scramble. That is something that Pat actually also mentioned in his deck profile. If you guys saw that on 3xG, he mentioned that he would probably go forward playing the Broly SCR instead of the red-green SCR, but in testing the red-green SCR myself and other decks, I think it's still a very strong win condition. So if that's the better budget option for you, if that's what you can get your hands on, I would still definitely play it. But so Scramble didn't see play for me once, but I know Jovan used it twice to win games that weekend. So good card overall, basically. His rounds were set 7 Gohan with the new Goten and Trunks cards. He won both games with Kaio-Ken on turn 5. He went 2-0 against Toa. She was struggling, just like Brandon and Jovan said. No one at our locals really played the deck, so it's just something I don't have much experience against. I think he's referring to the interview I did them a few days ago. Then he went 2-1 against Kaba. U6 just isn't that good of a deck in his opinion. Glass Cannon can't really build hand advantage, and going a longer game just doesn't give it the gas. Game 3, I mulligan for Shocking Death Ball and just never let him get into the game. So Shocking Death Ball is really good against the 2-drop Kale. That's one of their main playmakers, so really good there. Round 4, he went 2-1 against Frieza Prison. He said he punted game 1, misplayed Kaio-Ken, but Frieza Prison's almost a free win for the deck. Then he went 2-0 against Frieza again, gets a 5 energy, just win the game. Then he went 2-1 versus Kyle Navarro's Shenron Victory Strike. Game 3 got hit with Victory Strike. So yeah. Then game 7 or round 7, 2-1. He played against Sandy Cater's Frieza Prison. Had to win and get some luck for top 16. Shout out to Sandy for game 2. I forgot to set my life going second before I drew for turn. He noticed. He let me set my life. Very good guy on Sandy's part. Very good letting him do that before any irreparable game state happened. That was awesome. So didn't make it back for top 16, but was supposed to play Eric Hill. So that's pretty unfortunate that William couldn't make it back to top 16. We hear about the story a lot. I mean, I guess it's just the demographic that we play in. You know, people in this game are older, they have more responsibility. So good on William for, I guess, tending their responsibilities. Really good job for getting that top 16. We'll go over the list real quick. So the Clash of Fates Goku leader itself just offers you so much card draw. Pitch any dead green card in your hand that you have that you just don't need, and then you get to draw 2 cards. You also mill 2, which sets you up perfectly for Kaio-Ken. This does really seem like one of the best leaders for Kaio-Ken. Personally, I like red leaders a lot more right now. I just feel like Denial of Hope and After Image are a bit more impactful in the game. But with that being said, this leader still has plenty of pros. Double Strike on the back, gives you green counterplays, gives you the green negates, very strong. Feet Kamehameha, great pairing with the leader's backside, again with that Double Strike. So swing with the leader for Double Strike. If you have the Krillin in drop area, which he does play Krillin, you'll be a 20k base Double Strike, and then you Feet Kamehameha into a 35k Double Strike crit for 1 energy and 1 card. That's pretty hard for the opponent to combo out of if they don't have a bunch of super combos. Krillin calling for help, paired with the Final Showdown Son Goku for... Pat talked about this too. It's more like the threat of it is just there rather than like the actual usage of the combo. Like, it's really good against like Height of Mastery or any big boss monsters that are swinging, but The threat of it just makes your opponent play a certain way, so I like that a lot. For the greater good, a drop and gate, it's helpful against like Shenron Gogeta. Definitely usable off the leader pitch to get it in the drop area really fast. 4 Shocking Death Ball, 4 Newfound Power Sun Gohan. The Trunks Bridge to the Future, this card's really good, obviously, because it helps you find Saiyans. I'm pretty sure the entire deck is almost all Saiyans, and that mill on the backside also just really helps out a lot. Not on the backside, sorry. The mill on the 1-drop Trunks just really helps a lot in terms of getting the drop area set up for Kaio-Ken. Raditz the Oppressor, really good defensive card, just like stopping your opponent from going in with Senzu Bean or leaders that untap, things like that. The 1 Preemptive Strike, so I do assume from what William said in his notes that he would probably play a second of this if he had one, maybe even a third. It seemed like he can only get his hands on 1, but nonetheless, great card. 2 Broly Unforeseen Force. This is something that Pat, I believe, did not play in his build. I really like this card for for red green decks that just sometimes you just have 2 energy you need to do something with. You don't want to pass turn. You don't really need to counterplay or whatever the case is. Broly is just such value that 2 draw and then dealing with the board up to 3 cost is incredibly strong. The defensive stance, SS Vegeta, really cool, really interesting how these guys aren't opting to go for the Paragus super combo. And I noticed that that Pat did the same thing. Pat did mention it was for his U6 matchup where you can just play defense a bit earlier, so that makes a lot of sense. The Broly Demonic Origin, just for that easy dual color charge after you already charge a different dual color. Vegeta the Cruel and Mach Speed Kaio-Ken. Vegeta the Cruel is obviously an insane card, especially in this format. It's just so good, especially against things like Janemba. Kaio-Ken has some niche uses against like Skillless or other like 15k beat sticks you just want to remove from the board. Then Final Shot on Son Goku, again for the Krillin engine. The 4 SSB Gogeta, the 3 Kaio-Ken, and the 1 SCR Boss Monster. Now to note, if you are going to play this deck with the Broly SCR, the SS3 Broly, you're going to want to play Paragus to sacrifice. Probably in the main deck, you might want to trim down on maybe like Newfound Power Sun Gohans, maybe trim down on like 1 SSB Gogeta, maybe 1 Broly Demonic Origins. You probably want to play like 2 or 3, because if you can awaken turn 5, play Kaio-Ken, rip yourself down to 1 life, do everything you got to do. Even if the Kaio-Ken gets Mutaidoed and you have 2 energy from Awakening to play the Paragus Sacrifice, you're going to be able to KO your Kaio-Ken, play your Broly SCR, you're going to wipe their hand, swing with it twice, and probably win the game that way. So that's a really good thing to note. We'll go over to the side deck. Unexpected Turn, great card against U6. If you hold it for them summoning the Champa, they're probably already going to have like a 1-drop Caulifla and like maybe another 1-drop Kaba or another 1-drop Caulifla and then a 2-drop Kale and whatever the 2-drop Kale brings out. Most of the time when they play the Champa Vados, they'll have other things on the board. So, and this card, it doesn't really affect you too much. It will wipe your own 2-drops, but you can kind of time it right to where you're comboing off your Bridges to the Future, comboing off your Krillin calling for help, and then you unexpected turn them, and then they just lose their entire board. 2 Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan, again, very good against U6. I know Pat said he would side 3 to 4 of these bad boys just for that matchup. It's so good against the 2-drop Kale. The 1 Dende knew the job, the 1 Kami, and the 1 Toki Toki for that kind of generic black side deck. In terms of Toki Toki just getting the Kami and the Dende, it's 2 additional copies. Kind of rough when you do mill like your Kami and you have Toki Toki in hand, but I'm sure it doesn't come up too much because of the low number. Kami, again, is going to be good against U6, going to be good against Skillless, anything that kind of goes wide like that. Dende is going to be helpful against like your Shenron Gogeta, Shenron Ramp matchups. Mercenary Tao, this is a card that I think you have to play 3 of if you're going to play it, because this card is very dead after turn 1. Just a quick note for people out there who want my opinion on it. I do think Tao is like a 3 of in the side deck. I think because we're in such an open format, you definitely are probably going to face hand control a few times, maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times in a tournament. So Tao is definitely a 3 of. You just want to see it very early, in my opinion. Hidden Awakening Kale, again, that's for the Zamasu matchup, which Pat noted was very helpful. They'll just spam a board full of blockers that Mass Saiyan Mysterious Warrior unfortunately can't deal with. So dropping Kale in a green deck is really helpful for that. You just play it. They really can't do anything to it. I mean, they can like you're wide open it, but then it's going to go back to your hand for the next turn. You just play it again. They can only have so many you're wide opens, but you'll have the same Kale every single time, so that's really good. Then Bardock Fully Unleashed, you've got that for the green Broly matchup. You've got that for anything that's just big. So think of like the Baby Chain, anything just playing big 6 drops or higher. And then Mass Sand and Serious Warrior to clean up things like Skillless. Again with U6. A lot of U6 hate in the side deck, but U6 is very popular right now. So I want to say congrats to William one more time. Let me know what you guys think about the deck in the comments below. If you guys are interested in buying this deck, use my link to TCG Player in the description below. Really helps out the channel, guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Joey. This is Crosswell TCG, and I'll see you guys in the next video.